My name is Christine, and I've been dead for 11 minutes. The doctors at Mercy General have the paperwork. Cardiac arrest, no pulse, no brain activity. They called it at 6:23 a.m. on December 29th, 2025. But I wasn't in that hospital room. I was standing in a place where the air itself was alive, where every breath I took was pure light, and I was face to face with Jesus Christ. He spoke my name, and then he told me about the fire. Not the wildfire I'd been monitoring that morning. Not the blaze that had been creeping down the eastern ridge for 2 days, threatening the valley below. He told me about the fire, the one that's coming to 3 cities in America before the end of January. He spoke my name. And then he told me about the fire. Not the wildfire I'd been monitoring that morning. Not the blaze that had been creeping down the eastern ridge for 2 days, threatening the valley below. He told me about the fire, the one that's coming to 3 cities in America before the end of January. The one that will consume everything during 3 days when the sun doesn't rise. I'm a fire watch coordinator. I've spent 17 years tracking burns, coordinating evacuations, reading wind patterns. I know fire. I understand how it moves, how it breathes, how it kills. But what he showed me wasn't natural. This fire doesn't follow the wind. It follows a command. And the people in those 3 cities, millions of them, they don't know they're living on marked ground. I need to know something before I continue. If you've had dreams lately, dreams of darkness, of running, of fire in the sky, dreams you can't shake even days later. If you've felt an unexplainable urgency to prepare, to move, to get ready for something but you don't know what, type "I am ready" in the comments right now. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't a metaphor. It isn't symbolic. Jesus gave me 3 city names, 3 dates, and 3 specific signs that will appear in the sky exactly 7 days before the darkness falls. Some of you already know which cities I'm talking about. You felt it in your spirit. I didn't want this message. When he told me I had to come back, that I had to leave that perfect, holy presence and return to my broken body on that hospital gurney, I begged him to send someone else. Someone with a church, someone with a following, someone people would actually listen to. But he said, they won't believe the voices they expect. They'll believe the voice they don't. So here I am, a 62-year-old grandmother with arthritis in both knees, recorded this on my granddaughter's phone because I don't know how else to obey what I was commanded to do. I'm going to tell you everything. The moment I died, the tunnel, the light, his face, and the 3 warnings he burned into my spirit so deeply that I still wake up at night with a taste of ash in my mouth. But first, you need to understand how this happened, because I didn't choose to die that morning. I was just doing my job. December 28th started like any other winter morning in our county. Cold, dry, the kind of cold that makes the pine needles brittle and the ground crack under your boots. I'd gotten the first call about smoke on the eastern ridge around 4:15 a.m. Nothing unusual for this time of year. We get small burns every winter, campers who don't put out their fires properly, lightning strikes on dead timber, sometimes even arson, but this one was different. By 5:30 a.m., the fire had jumped 2 fire breaks. The wind was wrong. Everything was wrong. I grabbed my radio, my field kit, and drove out to the ridge in my old Ford pickup. Tom was still asleep. I didn't wake him. I just kissed his forehead and left a note on the counter. Out on a call, back by noon. Love you. I never made it back. The ridge road is narrow. steep. On a clear day, you can see all the way to the valley floor, the little cluster of houses, the church steeple, the grain silos that look like toys from up there. But that morning, the smoke was so thick I could barely see 10 feet ahead. I pulled over at the observation point, a flat clearing where we keep emergency supplies and communication equipment. The fire was maybe half a mile east, moving slow but steady through the dry brush. I radioed dispatch, told them I was on site, told them I'd monitor and report back in 20 minutes. Then I stepped out of the truck. The air hit me like a wall. It wasn't just cold anymore. It was sharp, metallic, like breathing in iron filings. And the smell, God, the smell, it wasn't just wood smoke. There was something chemical in it, something bitter that clung to the back of my throat and made my eyes water. I pulled my scarf up over my nose and walked toward the edge of the clearing. That's when I felt it. The pressure, not in my chest, not yet, but in the air around me, like the atmosphere itself was being squeezed, compressed, like the world was holding its breath. I turned back toward the truck. That's when the pain started. It wasn't gradual. It didn't build. It was instant, a crushing, vice-like grip that seized the entire left side of my chest and radiated down my arm. I dropped to one knee. My radio fell from my hand and skidded across the gravel. I tried to call out, but nothing came. No sound, just this wet, choking gasp. I remember thinking, this is it. This is how I go, alone, on a ridge, with no one around, for miles. I thought about Tom, about our daughter in Sacramento, about our granddaughter, Emma, who just turned 7 and still believed I was the toughest person in the world. I thought about the fire. Who would monitor it? Who would warn the valley? And then I thought, maybe this is better. Maybe dying out here, doing what I was made to do, is exactly right. The second wave of pain hit harder. I fell forward onto my hands. Gravel bit into my palms. My vision tunneled. The smoke, the trees, the orange glow of the distant fire, all of it collapsed into a single point of white light. And then, nothing. No pain. No cold. No sound. Just silence. Perfect, absolute silence. I don't know how to explain what happened next. One moment I was on the ground, gasping, clutching at the dirt like I could hold myself to the earth through sheer will. The next moment, I was standing, not on the ridge, not in my body. I was standing above it. I could see myself down there crumpled in the gravel, one arm stretched out toward the truck, my face turned to the side. My scarf had come loose. My eyes were half open. I looked small, broken, empty, and I felt nothing. No fear, no sadness, no attachment to that body lying in the dirt. It was like looking at an old coat I'd worn for 62 years and realizing I didn't need it anymore. That's when I heard it. Not with ears. I didn't have ears anymore, not physical ones. But I heard it. A hum. Low, deep. Like the resonance of a massive bell struck somewhere far away. And the vibration of it was traveling through everything, through the air, through the ground, through me. And then the light came. Not from the fire, not from the sky. It came from behind me. Warm, golden, so bright it should have blinded me. But it didn't. It was the opposite of blinding. It was like seeing clearly for the first time in my entire life. I turned toward it. There was a path. I don't know what else to call it. It wasn't made of stone or dirt or anything solid. It was made of light, a corridor of shimmering, living light that stretched out before me and curved upward into something I couldn't fully see. And I knew, without being told, without thinking, that I was supposed to walk into it. So I did. The moment I stepped forward, the world I'd known disappeared. The ridge, the fire, the smoke, my body, all of it is gone. I was moving, but not walking, floating, but not drifting. I was being drawn forward by something I couldn't resist and didn't want to. The light around me grew brighter, warmer, and I started to hear voices. Hundreds of them, thousands. Not speaking, singing. A sound so pure and so beautiful that I fell to my knees, or would have if I'd had knees. I wept without tears. I trembled without a body. And the voices sang one word over and over. Holy, holy, holy. The tunnel opened. I stepped out into a place that has no name in any language I know. The ground beneath me, if it was ground, was smooth and clear as glass, but it reflected nothing. Above me, if there was an above, was a sky that wasn't a sky. It was light, pure, unfiltered, infinite light. And standing before me, maybe 20 feet away, was a figure. Tall, robed in white, so bright it seemed to be woven from the light itself. I couldn't see his face clearly, not because it was hidden, but because looking at it was like trying to stare directly into the sun. My mind couldn't hold the image. But I knew who he was. I knew. The air around him, if it was air, vibrated with power. Not the kind of power that destroys, the kind that creates. The kind that holds galaxies in place and knows every sparrow that falls. And when he spoke my name, Christine, it wasn't just a sound. It was knowing. He didn't just say my name. He spoke every version of me that had ever existed. Every joy, every failure, every secret I'd carried, every prayer I'd whispered in the dark. My name, in his voice, was my entire life laid bare. And I fell, not in fear, in worship. He stepped closer, and he said, "You were not meant to stay. You were called here to see, to hear, to carry back what I am about to show you." I tried to speak. I tried to say, "Lord, I don't understand. I'm nobody. I'm just..." But he raised his hand, and the world around me changed. When he raised his hand, the light around us shifted. It didn't dim, it focused, like the entire realm I was standing in became a lens, and I was about to see through it into something else, something terrible. He spoke again, and his voice carried a weight I can't describe. Not anger, not sadness, something deeper than both. "I have shown my people sign after sign. I have sent dreams. I have sent warnings through my servants. But they are distracted. They are asleep. And now the time of mercy is closing." I felt my spirit tremble, not from fear of him, but from the grief in his words. He turned, and as he did, the space in front of us opened like a curtain being pulled back, and I saw the earth, not from above, like a satellite image. I saw it the way he sees it, every city, every street, every person moving through their day, unaware that they were being watched by the one who formed them. And then he showed me the 3 cities. The vision zoomed in. I saw the coastline first, the sprawl of lights stretching from the mountains to the ocean. The highways were choked with cars, the buildings stacked so close together they looked like a concrete forest. Los Angeles. I'd only been there once, years ago, for our daughter's college graduation. I remembered the traffic, the noise, the way the city never seemed to stop moving. But in the vision, it was still silent, waiting. He spoke. This city has become a stronghold of pride, of mockery, of flesh. They create images that corrupt the minds of the young. They worship fame. They worship pleasure. They worship themselves. I saw the streets again, but this time I saw through them. I saw the studios, the theaters, the nightclubs. I saw things happening in hidden places, rituals, ceremonies, things that made my spirit recoil. And then I saw the fire. It didn't start as flames. It started as a heat shimmer in the air, like the ripple you see rising off asphalt on a summer day. But this heat was alive. It moved with intention. It swept through the streets like an invisible flood, and everywhere it touched, things ignited, not randomly, strategically. The entertainment districts, the production studios, the towers of glass and steel where decisions were made that shaped the minds of millions. And the sound god, the sound, it wasn't crackling wood or roaring wind, it was screaming. Millions of voices screaming at once. He said, "On the third day of darkness, this city will burn, not by accident, not by natural cause. This is judgment, and those who remain will not escape." I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. I saw people running through streets with no light. The sun was gone. The sky was black, not the black of night, but a thick, oppressive darkness that seemed to absorb everything. No street lights worked. No phones glowed. Nothing. And in that darkness, the fire moved. It hunted. I saw families huddled in homes that were supposed to be safe, and the flames found them anyway. I saw cars abandoned on freeways. I saw looters fighting each other in the dark, only to be consumed moments later. And above it all, I heard a voice, not his voice, but something else, something guttural and triumphant laughing. The vision shifted. This time, I saw a city of wind and water, skyscrapers rising like iron teeth against a gray sky. Chicago. I'd never been there, but I recognized it from pictures. The lake, the bridges, the grid of streets cutting through neighborhoods that stretched for miles. He said, "This city has become a place of violence and covenant breaking. Blood cries out from its streets. The innocent are slaughtered, and the leaders do nothing. They have made agreements with darkness, and now darkness will consume them." I saw the South Side, the West Side, neighborhoods I'd only heard about on the news. I saw children, babies, some of them caught in the crossfire. I saw mothers weeping over bodies on sidewalks. And I saw the altars, hidden altars in basements, in warehouses, in places of power where men and women in expensive suits gathered to make deals that had nothing to do with politics and everything to do with the principalities ruling over that city. The fire came differently here. It started with wind, but not natural wind. This wind was cold, biting. It came from the north, off the lake, and it howled through the streets like something alive and furious. The temperature dropped so fast that the windows shattered. Water in the pipes froze and burst. People caught outside fell to the ground, their skin turning blue in seconds. And then the fire came behind it. A wall of flame 50 feet high, riding the wind like a wave, incinerating everything in its path. The buildings didn't just burn, they exploded. Glass, steel, concrete, all of it shattered and melted under heat so intense that the very air ignited. I saw people trying to flee across the frozen lake, and the ice cracked beneath them. I saw others trapped in subway tunnels as the fire poured down the stairs like liquid. And I heard him say, 72 hours of darkness, and when the light returns, this city will be a graveyard. The third vision came, and my spirit broke. New York City. The island of Manhattan, dense and towering and pulsing with life. I saw Times Square, Wall Street, Central Park, the bridges connecting the island to the mainland. So many people, so many souls. He said, and his voice trembled the ground beneath me, "This city is the head of the serpent in this nation. It is the seat of Mammon, the marketplace of souls. Here, the children of men trade in flesh, in lies, in futures built on the backs of the broken. I have called out to this city for generations, and they have said, 'We have no need of you.' I saw the banks, the trading floors, the boardrooms where fortunes were made and destroyed with a keystroke. But I also saw the trafficking, the exploitation, the systems designed to chew people up and spit them out. And I saw the churches, the ones still standing, still preaching, empty, hollow, more concerned with image than with intercession. The darkness fell over New York like a blanket, total, absolute. And in that darkness, I smelled sulfur, not smoke, sulfur. The taste of it filled my mouth acrid, rotten, like standing at the edge of a pit that goes down forever. And then the fire came from below, not from the sky, not from the wind, from beneath the streets. The subway tunnels erupted, the sewers exploded, geysers of flame shot up through manholes and grates, turning entire blocks into infernos. The bridges collapsed, the tunnels flooded, the island became a trap. And I saw people, thousands of them, jumping into the rivers to escape the heat, only to be pulled under by the current or crushed by debris falling from the towers above. I saw the Statue of Liberty, her torch dark, surrounded by water that reflected the orange glow of a city dying. He turned to me, and for the first time, I saw tears. Not on his face, he was still too bright to see clearly, but I felt them. Tears for every soul that would be lost. Tears for every warning ignored. Tears for a nation that had been given chance after chance and had chosen rebellion. "This is not my desire," he said. "I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but I am also just, and justice delayed is not justice denied." I fell to my knees again. My voice, or whatever passed for a voice in that place, finally found words. "Lord, how will they know? How will your people know when to leave?" He extended his hand, and 3 images appeared in the air before me like burning scrolls. "I will give them 3 signs. 7 days before the darkness falls, these signs will appear. Those with eyes to see will know. Those with ears to hear will flee. Sign has shown, the blood moon that doesn't set." The first image showed the sky at dawn, but the sun didn't rise. Instead, the moon, full and red as fresh blood, hung in the sky long past sunrise. For 3 hours, it stayed, visible, unmoving, a crimson eye staring down at the earth. When you see the moon refuse to set, and it hangs in the morning sky, the color of blood, know that the count has begun. 7 days remain. Sign #2, the sound from the north. The second image showed a clear night sky. And then I heard it, a sound like a trumpet, but not made by human hands. It came from the north, long, sustained, so loud that windows rattled and car alarms triggered for hundreds of miles. It lasted exactly 1 minute, and when it stopped, the silence that followed was so heavy, so oppressive, that people would feel it in their chests. When you hear the trumpet from the north, do not delay. Do not say, "Let me gather my things." Do not say, "One more day." Leave immediately. Sign #3. The birds fall. The third image was the most disturbing. I saw flocks of birds, thousands of them falling from the sky in the 3 cities, not scattered, in unison, as if someone had flipped a switch and shut off their ability to fly. They would fall into streets, onto rooftops, into parks, dead before they hit the ground, and no one would be able to explain why. When the birds fall in these 3 cities on the same day, the appointed time has come. The darkness will begin at sunset on that day, and once it begins, no one can enter or leave. He looked at me with an intensity that burned. You will tell them, Christine. You will tell them the names of the cities. You will tell them the signs. You will tell them that I am not mocked. What a nation sows, it will also reap. I tried to speak. I tried to ask, what about the others? What about the people outside these cities? What about the country? But before I could form the words, he said, "These 3 are the beginning. If this nation does not repent, if my people do not turn from their wickedness and cry out for mercy, what begins in 3 cities will spread. The fire will not stop until the land is purged." And then he spoke a passage I'd read 100 times but never felt until that moment. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. 2 Chronicles 7:14. But his voice added something that isn't written. But if they will not, if they continue in pride and rebellion and the shedding of innocent blood, then I will do what I did to Sodom, to Nineveh, to Jerusalem herself. The visions faded. The scrolls of fire disappeared. And I was standing before him again in that place of perfect, terrible light. I was shaking, weeping, overwhelmed. And then he said the words that broke me. "You must go back." No. The word came out of me before I could stop it. Not defiance, desperation. "Please, Lord, please don't send me back. Let me stay here. Let me stay with you." Because in that moment, standing in his presence, I understood what the Apostle Paul meant when he said it was far better to depart and be with Christ. There was no pain here, no fear, no exhaustion, no weight of the world pressing down on my chest every morning when I woke up. Here, I was whole. Here, I was home. The thought of returning to that broken body on the ridge, of feeling the cold again, the pain again, the heaviness of flesh and bone and time, it was unbearable. I reached toward him. "Please, send someone else, someone younger, someone with a voice people will actually hear." He stepped closer, and when he spoke, his voice was firm but not harsh. The voice of a father who loves his child too much to let them choose comfort over calling. "Do you think I would send you back if there were another way? Do you think I called you here by accident?" I shook my head, tears streaming down a face I didn't technically have anymore. "You are a watchman, Christine. You have spent 17 years of your life watching for fires on a ridge. You sound alarms. You warn people to flee. This is who I made you to be. And now I am sending you to sound the alarm one final time. He placed his hand on my head, or where my head should have been, and warmth flooded through me. Not the warmth of fire, the warmth of assignment, of purpose, of a mission that was mine and mine alone. You will return. You will wake in that hospital room, and you will tell them everything you have seen. You will name the cities. You will describe the signs. You will warn my people to flee before January 31st. January 31st? I whispered. The darkness will fall on the evening of February 2nd, but those who wait until the last moment will not escape. They must leave before the end of January. They must be far from those cities when the signs appear. I felt the weight of it settling on me, not a physical weight, but a spiritual one, a burden I didn't ask for but couldn't refuse. What if they don't believe me? I asked. What if they think I'm crazy, or lying, or... Some will not believe. That is not your concern. Your responsibility is obedience, not results. You speak, I will do the rest. He paused, and the light around him intensified. But know this, Christine. Those who hear and do not act, their blood will not be on your hands. You will have warned them. What they do with the warning is between them and me. And then I felt it. A pull, not from him, from behind me, from below. It was my body calling me back, like a rope tied around my waist, drawing tighter, dragging me away from the only place I'd ever felt truly, completely at peace. I looked at him one last time. Will I see you again? He smiled. I couldn't see it clearly, but I felt it, a smile that held eternity. You will see me again, daughter, and when you do, you will hear the words every faithful servant longs to hear. Well done. The pull became irresistible. The light began to fade. The voices singing, "Holy, holy, holy," grew distant, like they were moving away from me at impossible speed. I was in the tunnel again, but this time I was being pulled backward, hurtling through the corridor of light towards something dark and cold and small. I didn't want to go. I fought against it, but his voice followed me, echoing through the tunnel. Tell them, warn them, and do not be afraid. I am with you, even unto the end of the age. The light vanished, and I slammed back into my body like a freight train hitting a wall. Pain, immediate, searing, all-consuming pain. My chest felt like it was being crushed by a boulder. My lungs burned. My throat was raw, like I'd been screaming for hours. I heard voices, panicked, urgent. We've got a pulse. She's back. Christine, can you hear me? I tried to open my eyes, but the light, even the dim fluorescent light of the hospital room, was blinding after the darkness I'd just come from. Someone was pressing on my chest. Hands, machines beeping, the smell of antiseptic and sweat. I gasped, choking on the tube they'd shoved down my throat. Easy, easy, don't fight it, Christine. You're okay, you're back. But I wasn't okay, because I knew what I'd seen, I knew what was coming, and I knew I had less than 5 weeks to warn everyone I could. My mouth tasted like metal and ash. Not from the hospital, not from the intubation, from there, from the fire I'd seen, from the sulfur, from the vision of cities burning. It stayed with me for days. Every time I swallowed, every time I ate, the taste of judgment, They kept me in the ICU for 3 days. Tom never left my side. He held my hand. He prayed over me. He cried more than I'd ever seen him cry in 40 years of marriage. When I finally could speak, really speak, not just rasp through a damaged throat, I told him everything. He believed me, not because it made sense, but because he knew me, and he knew I wasn't the kind of person who made things up. Our daughter flew in from Sacramento. I told her too. She didn't believe me at first. She thought it was the trauma, the lack of oxygen, a hallucination brought on by cardiac arrest. But then I told her the details, the cities, the signs, the scriptures, things I couldn't have known, things I couldn't have invented. And I saw the fear in her eyes, not fear of me, fear of the truth. Before I was discharged, I spent hours in prayer. I asked God, what do I tell people to do? How do they prepare? And He gave me 3 instructions, 3 steps for anyone who hears this message and believes it. I'm going to give them to you now, not as suggestions, as commands from the one who sent me back. Step 1, leave the 3 cities before January 31st. If you live in Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York City, or in the surrounding metro areas, you need to leave. Not eventually, not when it's convenient. Now, I don't care if you have a job there. I don't care if you have a lease. I don't care if your entire life is built in those places. Your life won't matter if you're dead. Pack what you can carry. Take your family. Go to relatives in other states. Go to the countryside. Go anywhere that is not those 3 cities. And do not go back, even if you see nothing happening, even if the signs don't appear and people mock you for leaving. Better to be mocked and alive than right and dead. Step 2, fast and pray from January 24th to January 31st. For those of you who are not in the 3 cities but want to intercede, this is your assignment. 7 days of fasting and prayer. Not casual prayer, desperate prayer. The kind of prayer that stormed heaven when Nineveh repented. The kind of prayer that held back judgment when Abraham pleaded for Sodom. Pray for the people in those cities who don't know what's coming. Pray that they would have dreams, visions, supernatural warnings that drive them out. Pray for mercy. And if you are able, gather with other believers. Do not do this alone. There is power in agreement. If 2 of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. Matthew 18:19. Step 3, prepare your household physically and spiritually. Even if you are not in the 3 cities, you need to prepare. Because He told me, if this nation does not repent, what begins in 3 will spread. Stock water, non-perishable food, batteries, flashlights, medicine. But more importantly, get your spirit right with God. Confess your sins. Forgive those who have wronged you. Make peace with your family. Read Psalm 91 every day. Declare it over your household. Anoint your doors with oil if you have it. This is not superstition. This is spiritual warfare. And the battle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. You need to be covered. You need to be prayed up. You need to be in Christ, not just near Him. I don't know what's going to happen to me after I release this video. I don't know if people will believe me or call me a lunatic. I don't know if I'll be mocked or threatened or worse. But I know I've been obedient. I've told you what I saw. I've given you the signs. I've given you the timeline, and now the choice is yours. You can dismiss this. You can scroll past it. You can say, there's always someone predicting the end of the world. And you'd be right. There are a lot of false prophets out there. But I'm not a prophet. I'm a watchman. And I'm telling you, the fire is coming. If this message has stirred something in your spirit, if you felt the weight of it, the truth of it, even if you don't want to believe it, then you have a responsibility. Share this video, not for me, not for views or likes or comments, for the souls who haven't heard yet, for the mother in Brooklyn who's been having nightmares about fire and doesn't know why, for the father in Chicago who's felt an urgency to move his family but keeps ignoring it, for the college student in Los Angeles who's been sensing that something is wrong but can't put it into words. They need to see this. They need to hear this. And you might be the only link between this message and their survival. I'm not asking you to do this because it's easy. I'm asking you to do it because it's right. Because when you stand before the Lord one day, and you will, and He asks you, did you warn them? You'll be able to say, yes, I did everything I could. My name is Christine. I'm 62 years old. I'm a fire watch coordinator from a county you've probably never heard of. And on December 29th, 2025, I died and met Jesus Christ face to face. He sent me back with a message. I've delivered it. Now it's in your hands. May God have mercy on us all. If you've made it this far, please, before you close this video, bow your head right now and pray. Pray for the people in Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York. Pray for this nation. Pray that the church would wake up, and pray that God would give you the courage to do what He's calling you to do. Because the time is shorter than you think. Type I am ready if you will share this message. Type praying if you commit to the 7-day fast. Type I'm leaving if you're in one of the 3 cities and you're getting out. I'll be praying for you, and I'll see you on the other side. Whether that's in a few weeks or in eternity. God bless you.